in IBM, they arrange a debate in between AI and human. And it's a Harish Natarajan. I think he's from Cambridge. He's my friend as well.
Right.
And this Harish win against AI in the IBM. I think IBM debate. You can Google it, you can find. So anyway, but it's very interesting, chess and what you discussed, chess and this kind of things. It's very popular in that area as well. Many people try to involve, especially I think the Chinese people, they love chess, right? What I can understand from the student community, they love chess and these kind of things.
Great. That's interesting. And I would like to welcome Ben. Good evening, Ben. How are you doing?
I'm good, Ankit. How are you?
All good, all well. How's the little girl doing?
How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
Good,
Are
yeah.
there child labor laws that we're breaking?
Jim, she's there. She's still off school over in the UK, and she's become entrepreneurial. So
Okay, good for her.
Ankit's quite wrong. She set up her own YouTube channel called Moo Moo and Bo.
Okay.
Yeah, she's doing it, doggy training. She's only 7, haven't you?
Yeah.
So
I think that's great. Yes, she will be much more famous than we are.
hopefully, Jim, that's the idea. That's the idea.
Yeah.
She's doing well. She's doing well, bless her.
Sad that I can't see my teachers and can't go to school.
Yeah, she's sad that she can't go to school, so she's one of the ones that does enjoy school.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame.
Pardon, Ankit?
Oh, Ankit.
I said I'm asking her how is she doing at home during quarantine days, lockdown days.
It's hard. It's hard. I mean, her sister's only 5, and her sister's gone back this week. She's one of the years that can go back, so that's not helped. But the problem we've got is they're just not getting worn out in the day, so they're not sleeping overnight. They're still getting up at the same time of the morning. It's really hard, 6, 7. They're better off at school because they're learning. It's tiring them out, so they get into a pattern. But she's doing well. She's doing her own work, and she's started this YouTube channel with a dog training universe. So she's doing her best, but it's not. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy. It definitely isn't.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. And when can we start a show with her on IBM TV?
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yes, Megan, aren't you?
Sorry,
when can we start your show on IBM TV?
You're on IBM TV. I'm starting IBM TV, don't you? Yeah. Don't be shy. So tell them what your YouTube channel's called.
Okay, what's your name? What's your name?
Megan.
Megan, how are you doing?
Good.
Do you know we all are on a live show and we all are from different countries?
Yeah, I can see the corner. It says we're live.
Where are they from? Ask them where they're from.
Where are you from?
I'm from India.
I'm from California.
I'm from Malaysia.
I'm from Canada.
Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
These
So we're
countries?
all on the same show.
I'm from Shrewsbury.
Telford.
No,
Okay, Shropshire. They won't know Shropshire. Say Shropshire.
Shropshire.
Okay. You
Have you
look
been to
very
these
pretty.
Thank
Yeah.
Yeah, you're very pretty.
I have a haircut today.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Wow. I haven't been able to get mine cut.
You might did yours, didn't she?
Yeah.
But I tell you, Ben, I have a face made for radio, but she's got a face made for YouTube. So
Yes, Jim, she has. I mean, we've got a media business, so we create content, and the amount of times that people use it is incredible. We've just had a good order in from a UK holiday park to say how they're open, they're social distancing, and we've offered to take her down for that because she just loves. She's not camera shy. She loves being involved. And when she gets to know people, she knows how to hold a conversation as well. And she gets, but the problem is, a lot of our work is festivals and shows, so a lot of it's the weekend. So what we did early on was we purchased a camera so that she could have kiddie cam.
good.
So they get lots of pictures for themselves, but some shots I do use because they're from a different angle. So yeah, so she's involved in the business. She is, and both the kids are, and she enjoys it, and it keeps the relationship going between the families.
But she's wasted on podcasts. You know,
Yeah.
I think you need a camera on her.
You wasted on podcasts. Need to be camera. You want to do a podcast, don't you?
Yeah.
Because Daddy's got a podcast. I've got a podcast about business, entrepreneurs' view of business, which is all about positivity and seeing solutions and things. So, but she does like to get involved in anything we do.
Well, Ankit was trying to teach me how to do a broadcast and a podcast. How do you get from the content that you create and to a channel? How did you? That's what he was explaining to me. And
I use Anchor. I use a platform called Anchor.fm, yeah, and then that distributes it to 7 or 8 platforms. I've just done one for a client of mine, and it struggled to get on Apple. It was on Apple, but it struggled to link it back. So you have to check things like that because it usually goes live, and then you have to link it back. But Anchor is the easiest platform to use. It's free as well. It is related to Spotify. So obviously, you know, you go live on Spotify very early on, but it does the job. At the end of the day, it's the content and how you market it. Doesn't matter what platform it's on, Jim. But I mean, the key is obviously just to talk, talk and just, with passion. The key is talk with passion and people will listen.
Yes. And how do you market though? That's another question I had.
Well, we do it through we've got a website, a page dedicated on our website to it. We market it through the links of the people we use. We also social media. We also use other podcasters. So we talk to other podcasters. At the moment, we're using an event forum where we're talking through the COVID crisis about events. So we've just released a music one today. We did sports last week. We did a general one the week before. So we're just taking it week by week, really. And obviously, the more people you get involved, the bigger channels you've got.
We have in the Twitch world, we have rating, where when you're ending your show, you rate another so that you transfer your audience to them. Does that happen on podcasts as well?
It has come across. Yeah, it has come across in the UK. The BBC have been doing it across their own shows. So it is, so obviously the business world is always a little bit behind in doing it as the broadcasters are. So we are starting to promote each other's podcasts and appear on each other's podcasts. But of course, the issue is that you want the right people. Whatever your podcast is, many great podcasters, but some just aren't the right people. So there is that as well. But yeah, I think the UK is very young in podcasting. I think we're very, we are still quite a way out, away from other people, because it's only now that I think it's taking off in this crisis because we're all too busy.
Right.
Yeah.
We're all too busy normally, so we don't take the time to that. We listen to what's on the.
And Ben, I'll tell you. So I was reading an article on internet, and it says that during the lockdown, 25% is the increase in number of podcasters during these 3 months, because people are at home, they don't have anything to do, and they started podcasting.
Well, they're taking the time as well to Ankit to find out what they like rather than what they've heard about. And that's a massive difference. That's a massive change of thinking. Because normally you say, for example, as you said, Jim, if you say, "Oh, listen to that football podcast," you'll find it, but you won't then go and search for others. So I think that's what's changing. And a lot of broadcasting companies now, because you can also, the vodcast is the new word as well, isn't it? Vodcasting, where they're recording the podcast like on Zoom, and releasing it as a video. So it is. It's definitely it's not new, but it's definitely a growing massively platform at the moment, and it's exciting because you get to talk about in passion. And some, as Jim says, some people have got faces for radio. It is. You say that as a jest, but it is massive because if you've got the confidence to talk but don't want to be seen, you're saying better anyway.
Yes.
And also.
Go ahead.
And also what's happening is that podcasting, why people have started, because they don't have people to talk, and they wanted to talk to someone unknown without, judging them or without judging themselves or anything like that. And that's why that podcasting started, because I've talked to a lot of people around the world. They don't have a family, or they live alone, or they have couple of friends and things like that. And so they wanted to talk to a lot of new people again and again. And that's how they all started. Because podcasting, you can start with one person, and you just have to connect internet and be on the right broadcasting point, and then it just started happening. And people will join you over a period of time if you're consistent.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
Podcast, yeah, it's a way of life now, and I believe that it should be a part of a curriculum for students as well, who would like to have an additional way to learn more skills and to talk to more people, because a lot of kids are not that familiar, and the way your daughter is handling it, it's tremendous. It's
the problem you get, Ankit, is people look at it too deeply. I think they've got to do everything separately. A lot of videos you do, you can just take the sound off as a podcast. They sound good, and people accept that. I think people like most things overthink things. It's like it's got to be perfect. It hasn't. Yes, you'll always get better. Yes, you'll improve, but it hasn't got to be perfect. As long as you get the information out there, and as long as it's, for example, if you're going for a professional audience, make sure there's no swearing in it. If you're going for a jovial audience, make sure that there's nothing too serious in it. Adapt to the audience you're going for, and do that from the start. Rather than that, just talk and just you can always cut it and things.
I completely agree, and why people shift to podcast from the regular media channels is that because they are repeating the news and they are repeating the content again and again, and you need to understand what's going on in the world. So what happened with me that I wanted to know what's happening in US and what's happening in UK and what's happening in Malaysia, into the world of business or technology and things like that. And those particular news and those articles are not available on the mainstream media. That's why I have to route to podcasting. I have to follow a lot of followers and a lot of Facebook pages and YouTube pages and all those things to understand what's happening around. What is the real story? Because I don't want to listen to what's happening with politics among these countries. They talk about G7, they talk about a lot of things, and that is happening from morning till evening, same story again and again with different anchors.
Well, and Ben, I was going to say that you've brought out one of the things that we focus negatively on the consequences of the virus, but you also bringing up a positive aspect of it, a silver lining, if you will, when people who didn't have the time to listen to podcasts now have the time. So this is a perfect opportunity to try new things, to reach people in different ways. And I think that the fact that we're slowing down, we're forced to slow down, may be a good thing. And it may be something that we have to remember to do.
But Jim, I think it worries me what happened before this crisis, because if you think that all of a sudden now we're buying more hand sanitizer and hand cleaner and toilet, what did we do before? Why is that suddenly kicked in now? And of course, and then we're also walking a lot more because a lot of the guidelines are to walk. What did people do before? So what they're doing now is that they're taking this into their life, and walking can be seen by a lot as boring. Okay, but you put a podcast in, and you never know how far you walk. So
it's so true.
It is.
Yeah.
So and that's what's changed. Is because the people that are going to benefit are the people that are going to take this on board and enjoy the whole experience now, being outdoors and not.
And even in the days when I could go to the gym, I would be doing this elliptical where you're using all your body, and talk about boring. But if I had something in my ears that I could listen to, I was fine. I was a million miles away from doing this. So
monotonous is probably a better word than boring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start a.
I said correctly.
Jim, maybe we should start a boring podcast. What do you think?
I'd be on it.
Well, we're pretty boring people. Maybe we could do something boring. Hey, we could actually take these, this what we're doing, and just move it through the podcasting world. I'm just not sure how it happened, rather than doing pod TV. But who knows? I mean, the podcasters.
The problem is, Nicholas, is what you find boring, Sharif might not, and this is the problem that we are now getting through, is that we've always pigeonholed, so people think podcast is boring.
Yeah. But see, Sheriff is a professional, boring person. Okay. He got a PhD. All right. I mean, the thing is, okay, listen to me. Hear me out, counselor. Okay. He got a PhD. Okay. That's professional, boring stuff. Because the thing is, what you have to do, true. Come on, admit it, Sharif. Right. You have to spend 5 years plus study all this.
No pick-up lines in the bar.
I'm not picking on. I'm just telling what it is. Okay. And then the thing is, he absorbs all this boring material. Okay. So the thing is, he's a professional, boring person. So then when he sees our show, he goes, "Oh, this is exciting because it's the same old boring stuff I've been used to all my life." Okay. And so the thing is, he's fed more of the boring stuff. Sharif, what did you do your PhD in anyway? What was your
No. Actually, you are correct. Actually,
I know I'm correct.
Yes,
Dude,
yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
Yes, PhD is a permanent head damage.
No,
So-
it's piled higher and deeper. Okay.
So
BS
when
is what it is. MS is more the same, and PhD is he's just piled higher and deeper in the garbage.
even many of the professors and everyone, they know that PhD is a permanent head damage. I believe so. And like example, if I share my 5 years like of my experience, I'm very honest with you. Yes, culturally, I telling you very honest feedback. Culturally, after 5 years, I involved with IBM TV, but I do not get enough time because I have to build up my business. I have to do my PhD, a lot of correction, lot of research publications. My life is not true. I'm especially professional, boring person. But yes, when I saw that IBM TV, a lot of colorful things, sometimes they do. Yes. so
Okay,
so I
listen. If you're going to academia, you don't have a life, so you just forget it. Okay, your life is over as you know it. It's publish or perish. So you got to publish things, insane things on issues that no one really cares about except other academics, and then they go through a peer review. Well, have we heard this one before? No, we haven't. And do we really care? No. Then publish it, okay? Because it's exciting. Okay, and Kit, come on, stay away from this.
I have a question for you. And at this point of time, if you have to choose between PhD and something else, what would you choose?
Yeah.
No.
PhD or a real life, what would you choose? I mean, something else.
No, if I am honest, because let's say in COVID-19 period, who actually really solving the problem? The researcher, Oxford University in the lab, they are producing vaccine. That is the fact. Okay, so yes, maybe example, footballers, superstars, they are paying more money. But reality is that, like in a challenging moment, actually researcher give you the ultimately solution. Who produce the vaccine? Who will save all of the people? Actually, the researcher. So I will choose research.
By the way, that is true. In other words, the
So
thing
that
is,
you will remain bored.
Yeah, even because I'm used to. I'm telling
because
you.
remember,
truth, like,
hey, Ankit, just get this. He's a professional, boring person. So he's good doing research. Okay, I mean, that's what we like to do.
But he's
Okay, I
making
mean,
a contribution
PhD
to
means
society.
professional, boring person.
yes.
He's making a contribution to society. So boring can be a contribution as well.
Yes.
Okay, we have our apologist running around. That's fine.
No, this is actually true. Like yes, example. When I saw like I know that Mr. Dick also a professor, maybe any other person actually professor. But when I saw my students, they get something, they achieve something, and I'm very true. Even I'm from Bangladesh. So I know the different cultural and economical background students. Only because of hard working and getting good result and other things, they get a good life right now. Many of my students, even they are now big corporation managing directors. Even in let's say United Group, in Cambrian Education Groups, they are the big ones, and they are now managing director. Yes, they are from the different background, and many things happen. So this is the things when you change human life, it gives you some sort of satisfaction. I know many of my students, even they do not have table for study. I know culturally, I know many even subcontinent, many of my students, they do not have chair, they do not have table, they do not have laptop, anything. I do not want to say I'm a big man, but as a teacher or professional people, I try to help them. But after 3, 4, 5 years of hard working, when they achieve their jobs in a multinational company and they get successful, and after a long time, even I have my student even in USA, they call me, hello sir, how are you? So that time actually I feel, I'm very honest with you, I mentally I feel very honored and very happy. So that's why every people has different perception. I have this perception, maybe I can help many students because I'm from a different background. I have to see, because maybe from USA you cannot understand subcontinent people challenges, how they
No, we
face.
don't.
Maybe I don't
Oh,
know.
no, I
And
guarantee you we don't. We have no clue what goes over in Bangladesh. I mean,
no,
come
no,
on, Sharif.
actually I
First
have
world
many
problem.
friends. Yes, India, Pakistan, everywhere. The culture,
Yeah.
even
I mean, the thing is, we just know that Ankit has 1.3 billion Facebook followers, and that's about it. I mean,
no,
US
other than that,
explored only
yes,
Vietnam, not Bangladesh.
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
So
the
US
thing is,
knows a little bit
Bangladesh.
about Vietnam, but nothing more than that.
yes.
Yeah.
Even example, when I first
Cambodia, maybe.
come to Malaysia, we have 14,000 students in Malaysia, Bangladeshi student. So I start what I told, the 12 years I working. So I start first, I introduce different kind of technology, like knowledge-based conference and many more things. Even they are from computer science background, but they do not have international interactions, how the multinational company works, how they can get more opportunity. Many Silicon Valley peoples also helping us. They attending the conference. We have a very good platform. So now I can see the changes of the human beings
Mhm.
with only academic thing, because at the end of the day, people has to take their secured life. People have to find out the security with their knowledge and these things. I can remember when I was University of Cambridge, one of the Bangladeshi guy that time, he was a chief engineer. So anyway, I asked him that you are here. Has multiple talented. He is a very good photographer. He was a very good singer, and he is even a world-class scientist. And he actually chose this scientist and this way. I said, why don't? Because you are a very good singer, whole Europe know you. You are a very good photographer. Why you choose this path? He said, actually, it gives me more security, financial security. That is the truth. So, truth is that I'm very honest with you. Yes, it's a very hardworking. My wife always she's threatening me. Oh, you cannot visit here, there. You are only busy with your work. Many more things. But I'm very honest with you. When she see that our student, because please try to understand, this student from very weak background, and they come and they change their life, they're very happy. I told you, like example, the one of our students, and he is trying to sell his technology in Silicon Valley from Malaysia.
Mhm.
He's a Malaysian startup. So I help them. So this student, how he motivate and how he involved with these things, it's actually, I think Mr. Nick also can understand, because he also involved with academia, but he's a multiple talented. I'm not a talent guy like you. Okay, that is the problem. So I'm super
Well,
body.
my
Yes.
question is, Ben, do you think that Sharif would benefit from a podcast?
I think it should be called the Very Interesting and Not So Boring Podcast. No, you would benefit from a podcast, no doubt about it. And your target market would be fellow, people in your profession. Because what you just said now, you've just had me hooked. And you're right. It's not. Look, the talk of boring and stuff is wrong. It's not the most exciting of things until you need yourself. If that makes any sense. If I needed you, I'd have a massive interest in you, because obviously you offer some high quality, high value skills. But until I need you, will listen to you on the podcast and take it in subliminally. But then all of a sudden you'll become big when what you're saying becomes relevant. It's like any podcast. Until we hear something that's relevant, we're not really interested.
So I've learned one thing today, and that is to strike the word boring from my vocabulary.
Really?
Well,
Well,
before
actually,
that,
Sharif, there's your bridge to Silicon Valley. Jim lives
There
in the
you
valley.
go.
There you go.
yeah,
Okay, you have the Bangladesh bridge to Silicon Valley.
If you had
no,
a podcast, I would listen.
Even Malaysian with the Cyberjaya, there are many tech companies, startup, many. So I have a very good relationship with them. So basically, why we, like example, World Talent Economy Forum, why we bring more talented people there, and I want to invite you all because there are many young people. They never. I say the 200,000 students. They never. Understand from their academic background how the corporate world work, like even example how you are talking about stock markets, you are talking about investment, you are talking about multinational cultures, many more things. I'm sure many of my students, at least 60-70% of my students, they never think about it. So that's why, like example, World Talent Economy Forum, at least we can, like we free, everything free. We distribute our like our guest information and their thought with that. That's why we target always successful person professionally, because we need to, you like example, yes, everybody like culture, everybody like different kind of music, many more things. But our objective that as much as the underprivileged people we want to reach and we want to help them. That, but yes, that is our objective.
Right. Yeah. And Sasha, I have a question since you're talking about the markets and stuff. What platform do you use to trade on? Where do you trade your stocks? I use TD Ameritrade. I'm just curious.
Yeah, many years ago I used TD Ameritrade. As a matter of fact, I understand that now in the United States you have commission-free trading. We don't have it in Canada.
Yeah, that's true.
I still have
commission. By the way, listen to what he just said. U.S. commission-free trading, which means you can buy and sell stocks, and the stockbroker doesn't take anything.
A house doesn't get its cut.
House doesn't get its cut. You're right. Okay, go on.
Well, there are some hidden things that still.
They're called 12B1 charges.
But you know what?
Don't worry about those.
Sometimes the less you know, the better for you.
Right.
So if you don't know all that stuff, it's better for you. Don't even think about it. Because you can't beat the house anyway. So you
can't beat the house is always going to get a cut. Don't worry about it.
It's still a good deal. Yeah. Okay. Well, you can get some cut if you will start swiping floors in their brokerage office. Maybe. Beyond that, I'm not just sure. Now, the thing is, I'm using Questrade.
Questrade?
Questrade. They should charge $4.95 per trade, but I've negotiated $3.95.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Yeah. See, Sharif, one of the best ways to have people understand the market is to play the market. In other words, you have to have a lot of money to play it. But the thing is, it's like I was telling people on chess. Okay, you can read all the books you want, but unless you take your hard-earned money and you stick it in the slot machine, you don't really get a feel for it. Then you do. Okay, like you go and you buy that General Electric stock. What'd you buy it at anyway? Did you get that?
Actually, I'm not doing that bad with the General Electric stock because but
I'm looking at it for a long haul because I'm looking at it to go way up. But the thing is, here's the thing, Sharif. Okay, you got to get your students to go in there and put that money in that slot machine on TD Ameritrade. Then what happens? Then they go, I got to watch where this thing's going every day.
You couldn't be more right about that because I started to invest for my nieces, and I gave them a certain amount of money, and I listened to what they had to say, and I invested it according to what they wanted. But it was my money. It wasn't their money. So they lost interest.
They lose interest, right? It's got to be their money. They got skin in the game. Skin doesn't matter how much money. They just have to have some skin in the game. Rather than buy that next iPhone 13 like I did, giving Apple more money, put some money in that Apple stock. And I mean that's what they got to do. But and if one person can't do it, then they collectively got to get together and play the game. Because no matter how much you teach from the business standpoint, business school. And I do have an MBA for what it's worth. I was in the MBA program at the University of South Florida at age 9. No, an MBA. I was in the MBA program when I was 19 years old because I got my BA very quickly by taking a lot of tests. So I didn't have to go to school. They were called CLEP tests and special CLEP tests.
I did those too.
Yeah, right. So at 19, I had a bachelor's degree and I was going, okay, what do you do next? And I go get an MBA. Poof. which was a useful degree. The problem is this: it's all theoretical. They took theoretics on economics, theoretical finance, theoretical accounting, no practical. You don't get the meat, baby, you know. And so I thought, well, how could you improve that? Put some meat in the classroom. What's that? Go to TD Ameritrade. Go to TD Ameritrade. Put some hard-earned money in that market, and boy, you got some skin in the game. And you're right, Jim. You can't give them the money. They gotta sweat for the cash and put it in the bloody market, and then
I learned that the hard way.
That's the hard way. Then they'll learn. And I can tell you some good trades I made. You know, with Apollo Group when it was bought out, and I was going like, "Woof!" I made a huge amount of money on a buyout, which takes place every now and then because some other company offers a lot more money than it's trading at, and then you buy in right as it's going through. And then I did I did the same trade with Walgreens Boots Alliance that tried to buy Rite Aid. So I piled up on Rite Aid. And then what happened is the FTC says no more. I don't know if you remember that. I remember that. I took a bath, baby. It was like whoosh. I was going, are you kidding me? The stock crashed, and it was a crash and burn. Unfortunately, it's my money and it's getting burned. Like I did. But see, the thing is, Sharif, they internalize it and they get that thing called experience. Okay, there's nothing like that real life experience, having your own money in the market and watching it go up and down, and then you're more serious about it. Then you start looking at the 10Ks, you start looking at the quarterlies, you start listening to the reports differently. You're playing the game, even if it's a small level. Then if you're saying, okay, the stock went up, the price earnings ratio is this, who gives a rat's rear? You know, I mean, that's just so you can pass a bloody test. It makes a big difference. Price earnings ratios make a big difference if it's your stock, you know? So I'm just saying that academia.
I just share with
how the stock market is going on in UK. Ben, do you invest in stocks in UK?
I invest in this stock. This is about the only stock I invest in. Whatever she wants, she seems to, you know what it's like with kids. No,
it's livestock.
Yeah. Stock market. They keep talking about this V bounce, and if we're honest, it's not going to happen. You know, everything's dropped. Of course, it has, and I think it's going to shoot straight back up. But just the business and the industries aren't there. So stock market. So everything's struggling in the UK. Everything's dropping. Stocks and shares are steady. That's about the best of saying it. Which isn't, you know, there's no buoyancy there. Obviously, the airlines are obviously dropping by the day, as they are probably in the States. You know, and they're obviously a major factor. Oil, people are paying you to take oil, although the garages aren't. Notice the garages aren't. You still have to pay for your petrol and diesel. I've noticed that. They're certainly not paying the consumer. So the major stocks and shares really are dropping. Obviously, that's affecting the stock market, and people are worried about buying. At the moment, I think the best thing that people can do is just not to panic, just to keep calm. And all right, that means there's not a lot of stocks and shares moving around, but it's also not a lot being dumped. So there's a lot of different, you know, there's major there. So it's like everywhere, you know. I don't think everybody waits for the markets to open in different places, see if there's going to be any bounce. But it always talks about the news at the moment. You can tell how bad it is because people aren't talking about it.
But the question is, to me, where do you put your money? And bonds are paying nothing. You know, and you cannot get a rate of return that you're used to. And so, why should I sell my stocks? You know, I don't understand the motivation because I have nowhere to put that money.
That's the reason the market's high, artificially high, is because what you just said. You can't go into fixed instruments right now. CDs are paying like less than 1%. Fixed instruments are way down there. The bonds are the same way. And so the thing is, here's your choice: real estate, which has its own peculiarities, a lot of work, or the stock market. And so people are just staying in the stock market. And frankly, I think they're just going to ride it out. Even if the market goes way down, they're just going to ride it out into next year, where the COVID-19 will no longer be an issue. So the market just hasn't really receded as fast and furious. The other thing they did here, and they did in a lot of countries, they dumped a lot of money into the economy. The Federal Reserve opened up its piggy bank and dropped in $3.5 trillion by buying bad debt, excuse me, buying U.S. debt, and whatever else that we would publish, and the banks would sell. So what you have is a lot of fresh cash in the economy, which makes keeps the market buoyant, at least for right now. So what can you say, Jim? I mean, there's some stocks you should bail out. Warren Buffett already did it. He ditched the airline industry.
Yeah, you can't be in that. Right.
You can't be in that because that's a long-term bad deal. Retail, same thing, big problem. Right. And so there's some industries. And I think this Monday, we had Ed Snyder, the professor of economics at Yale, former dean of University of Chicago, give a list of, if you guys want to see it, go to our Monday our Monday economic show, and he gave a list of sectors that you shouldn't be in. And I listened to him very carefully. He's right. In other words, the thing is, these sectors are just going to take a hit, and it's going to be a while before they come back.
A lot of them.
But if we're honest, we've not really seen the effect yet of COVID-19, of this crisis. That's the truth of it. Yes,
I agree.
It's right. We're seeing the bigger company. A lot of people are using the government support to lay people off, which is not there.
Right.
The real effect will be when the small businesses don't get paid, and the large market. I don't think we've seen the effect till perhaps September, October time, really, in the UK.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's an old adage in the market on any year: sell in May and walk away, and then come back in October. Okay, because by October, November, the markets will be cleared up. Now, Sasha doesn't take advantage of that old sage advice because he jumped into General Electric. But at the same time, that's what I'm doing. So I'm selling in May and I'm walking away. I'll come back in October.
Okay, General Electric is a very specific story. There is almost no downside. Even if there is, it's so limited that you can, for all intents and purposes, ignore it, specifically if you sell calls. Then this cost, I sold already second time, $7 calls. So they already killed. They already killed any downside. That's it. Now.
Okay, he protected his rear. Good call.
I protected it 100%. No, 155%. I would say.
You probably do naked puts. I bet.
He's playing a game that I'm not familiar with.
Naked puts, you don't have upside unless the stock will go 50% down, but it's not going to happen. Electric at this point. So I covered completely all downside. So now the question is only how much and how quickly I'll make my money on General Electric. I'm not going to. The thing is,
it's a sure thing.
It's a sure thing.
Yeah. It doesn't pay.
Hey, Jim is acquiring General Electric as we speak. He's on his little thing there. General Electric, it's a pump and dump.
The thing is with General Electric, it doesn't pay any significant dividends. So there's no incentive for me to hold on to that. So I will squeeze as much covered calls as I can. I sold $7 calls. Next one I will sell $8 calls. And then I will let it exercise. So I will make about $45,000. Or the same that what Russian Grandmaster won in that.
Yeah, I was saying same with the Russian Grandmaster.
Yeah, I'd like to get my 45 grand from.
What's your strike price? Your get out price on GE?
Well, now you gotta have one.
Gotta have one.
No.
What's your get out price?
$8.
Really? You're going to get out at 8?
Yes.
Wow.
You bought that
I trade a lot like that, so I understand.
Wait. Not before I will sell $8 calls and will collect maybe 40-50 cents premium on each call. And I have 5,000 shares, so I will sell 50 calls. So that will create, certain cash. And then I will let it go. I will not fall to it. There's no dividends.
I mean that's an interesting strategy. When I bought Apple at 99 a share or 98, I was going, well, I'll get out at 120. Because you're making 20%. Well, it only took a couple months, And so I bailed. I said, look, I made 20% in a couple months, not realizing I could have held all the way to 300 or 250 or some greater number. So I was thinking your bailout price would be something like 20 or 30 a share.
On General Electric. See,
General
I'm not going to be alive when it will happen in about 50 years from now. No,
did you look at their 52-week high-low? Look at their 5-year high-low?
Yes, I did. They will never be there.
Really? What were they 5 years ago, though? GE, weren't they like trading at 30 a share?
36, about $36 a share. But
Right.
they will never be there in our lifetime.
Oh, really? Ooh, we'll quote you on that one.
You know what I'm looking at now, Sasha? I'm looking at Disney for the same reason. What do you think of Disney?
It's a dog.
Disney, okay. Disney, it will go higher. It will go to probably $130 a share. And about that, it will hit the wall and will go all the way down to $90.
Yeah, it's going to get hammered. Disney's going to get hammered the next several months because COVID-19 really is hammering them in all their theme parks, their movies, the whole entertainment industry. So, yeah, you look at Disney, look at them in October, November when they get a bounce back. But right now, dog.
Oh, guess what? What happened if Trump will lose election? What will happen with all stocks, including Disney? They will go down to $15?
I don't know. You know, the thing is, why would he have an effect on the election? What's your theory?
Well, my theory is that obviously stock market is supporting Trump as much as they can. Sure. They're all tied up to hardcore Republicans, and Republicans will lose the Senate and will not be in Senate for the next 35 years. So obviously the stocks will go down in November, right after election. The only problem, what will stop them to going down, it's a civil war. If it's a civil war, then stock will go higher because there will be a lot of the defensive stocks and so on. So stock will go much higher if it's a civil war.
Yeah. What we need to do is start a war somewhere so we can ignore all the problems with COVID-19.
Nick, I want to tell you something interesting. I remember
say that.
I started.
What do you mean don't say that? That's what we do here.
I think Trump is thinking that. I think absolutely right.
Wag the dog, baby. My
ratings are down.
Let's see, where's a hot spot in the world I can start a war at so that we can
that's what we do.
That's what we do here. Maybe we do war better than anybody. So ultimately that's what's going to happen.
I want to tell you something really interesting. In about 1989, I cashed out of one of my investments on Vancouver Stock Exchange, did very well. And I wanted to start my own public company, but I didn't know about what. What is the best way to start a public company? The best way is to ask broker what his customers would buy. Logistics, food business, maybe high tech or whatever, what he feels like there is an appetite. And he told me that, you know what, it would be interesting to find a public company that would do some kind of business in Russia, because Soviet Union was about to collapse and so on, and so there must be some opportunities. So it doesn't matter even if you lose all the money that you will raise, but there will be an interest for sure, because no one else is doing that. So we will make money on stock, and then the life will show whether you can make any money on that business. Okay, fine. So I asked him, so what's a segment of business in Russia do you think people will be receptive? He said, you know what, I think it's a food business because people have to eat. And if you'll do some kind of food business, so I started to discuss with people that I know of who were in food business. So eventually, at the end of the day, we raised money to build 2 food factories, frozen food factories in Moscow. And but there was a process when you have to present the idea, you have to talk to potential investors and dog and pony show, as you know. So on one of the shows, one investor asked me, okay, what's happened if you will build up the factories and they're fine, but there is a civil war? How are you going to make any money? I said, well, in a civil war, both sides have to eat. Otherwise, they will not be able to fight. So whenever they have a break, they will have a slice of pizza or something else and go back to fighting.
Okay,
How about that?
it's a stable industry. I have to admit, people still have to eat, so that's not going to go down. Hey, since you're doing research, Sharif, go look at Pluto TV.
Okay.
Research, because part of our game plan is to follow the script of a company called Pluto TV, and then we'll discuss it later on. Jim's looking at Pluto TV right now. Ooh, doo-doo-doo. Okay, well, and look, I didn't fall out of a garbage truck. Hello, Pluto TV. Go read the Wikipedia page and look at the timeline on it, and you'll see what happened with Pluto TV. See, IBM TV is following a script. It's Pluto.
Interesting. Is it your brand?
Pardon?
No, like you
Oh,
are
Pluto TV is not my brand. Pluto TV.
Okay.
You go to it's a Wikipedia page. It's actually a company. If I'll brief you on it for those who haven't read about Pluto TV. Pluto TV was started about 6 or 7 years ago by a group of people in Los Angeles. What they did is they acquired a group of talented people and did a Series A funding, 13 million, which hits what Alexander Starr's saying about 10 million. Then they did another funding at 60 million, and people never heard about Pluto TV. In 6 years, they sold it for 342 million. Okay.
Oh my God.
I thought you would like that. Okay, so wake up, guys. All right, now realize in media, the fastest growing stock on the New York Stock Exchange the last 10 years was Netflix. Go look at it last 10 years, 4,000% rate of return. So, when you're looking at media and you're looking at scripts, IBM TV's script is Pluto TV, for what it's worth, for the people in Malaysia.
Okay.
Now,
Why not?
What?
In Malaysia, you find many Chinese investors from Malaysia, from Singapore, even actually from Muslim world.
Sure.
Muslim world, there are a lot of investors actually. Even example, next Sunday, one of the guy he can't come and join with us. He's a Kuala Lumpur International Chamber of Commerce president. So Muslim community has good influence in Malaysia. So yes, naturally they do a lot of things. I think if you can make a good bridging in between Asia Pacific and USA, definitely there are many people they love to do.
I think Malaysia, the U.S. Malaysia. Malaysia is just not very well known over here, and one thing that IBM TV can do is create that bridge between Malaysia and the U.S. because the media today, you have that instant bridge where years ago there wasn't a bridge, and traditional media, forget it. The thing is, I've been up and down that rabbit hole. They're never going to building a bridge. No, they want to burn the bridge so people watch their television show. I'm serious. That's what they're doing. Build a bridge. That's not exciting. Let's go burn the bridge. I can tell you right now in the U.S., which I'm not even watching television, all they're discussing is riots, burned houses, whatever leads here, and that's it. They will not discuss, hey, let's build a bridge between the U.S. and Malaysia. Because that's not exciting. That's not exciting. Okay, let's burn the bridge between here and Malaysia. Well, that's exciting. We can put that on TV, And that's the problem with traditional media. Now, we have a bridge over with our sponsor, Lynn Shepard, and the dollar store, speaking about bridge, and we're going to try to build dollar stores around the world eventually, because the thing is, it makes economic sense for people to shop, especially online, but having hardcore facilities also do make sense and drive the prices down. I'm learning a lot about dollar store. I didn't know that much about it. So what's going on with the dollar store, Mr. Lynn?
What a segue. That was interesting. So first of all, to make it easier for everybody, we actually changed the name of the dollar store to just simply family.dollarstore.com. I believe Ankit has been in the process of changing the link so that you can go right to it. The problem is that the name Shepard, which is what we had originally, is spelled so many different ways. People make mistakes, spell it with one P, with a PH. And really, it's much more about family anyway. Because as you know, we become family with IBM TV and with all the folks who come on. We really are here to do several things, to help promote and stand behind the mission of Money Masters PBS, which owns IBM TV, so that we can help people in your mission to be able to create narrow the gap between financial poverty and financial sustainability. We love that role. We're giving half of our profit. So family.dollarstore.com is really about the family of trying to help people with financial fitness and financial education. The other thing is how do we do that? Well, not only by donating part of our profit, half of our profit to Money Masters PBS, but the other way is to allow people to buy products a lot cheaper than they could get them elsewhere, and to be able to do it while they're staying home, so that the products can be delivered to their door. Shipping is free for purchases under $25. There are lots of products on the website that are significantly cheaper than you can buy them on Amazon or in the big box stores. A good example, and Kimberly's not here today, but some of the things that get the lines out of women's faces. I should say women, because men don't care particularly about whether we have lines in our faces or not, but women do. And there's a product that's on our site, identical to one on Amazon. On Amazon, it costs $67, $4 for shipping. We sell it for $4.99. And if you buy $25 worth of products, not only is it shipped to you for free, but you can take advantage of the rewards program because you get $5 immediately just for signing up to become a customer. So why not? And so save money. Don't have to go out to get to be exposed to the coronavirus. Get products cheaper and support Money Masters PBS. So it really is a win-win-win in all respects.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's interesting that they actually give you $5 to sign up, because I just signed up for BJ's, which is like a Costco. I had to pay $55
exactly
to join the discount store. See, the thing is with the dollar store, for those who are listening, they don't charge you to sign up for the dollar store. It's free. Matter of fact, they'll give you money to sign up, which is just really weird. So I signed up for the dollar store online. I bought stuff from the dollar store online because, hey, it doesn't cost you anything to sign up on the dollar store, and they deliver it right to my house. So it does work. I'm just letting you know. It works in the United States. It doesn't work in India yet. We're working on that. Doesn't work in Malaysia yet. We're working on that. And it doesn't work on Canada yet. No,
well, it can work on Canada, but as Sasha knows, it's a little bit more expensive to get there. And then there's something called Border Patrol. And I know about Border Patrol because my daughter lives not far from Sasha in Toronto. And we try and send stuff there. They try and send stuff here. And it just takes, well, they're only there for 3 years. Might not get there until they've left. So there you go. Anyway.
Yep. But for the Americans that are listening, just go ahead and hit the green button on IBM TV, sign up for the dollar store. They're one of our sponsors. We do plan on developing a long-term relationship with them.
Absolutely.
Because we do believe that one problem that they also have, Sharif, since you're into the business economics, is the millionaire next door. The millionaire next door clips coupons, saves, very parsimonious. And people think millionaires spend money lavishly and they buy big houses and buy big cars. Whereas a friend of mine in Pakistan, Kamal Mashur, said, all the Pakistanis want to do is impress people. I said, that's the wrong way to become a millionaire. Okay? In other words, you don't want to impress people. Here's how you want to impress people. Your bank account. Okay, you want to sit there and say, here's my bank account. It's huge. And that is impressive. All this other stuff, garbage. But seriously, there's that whole theory that, hey, we're here to impress people, so that they buy and I did all that. You buy the expensive cars. I used to have $100,000 worth of cars because I was living in the best, all that stuff. Let me tell you something. That doesn't work. If you want to really do well, you want to have a big bank account. One way to do it is you do have to clip the coupons, save the money, join the dollar store online, and and head that direction, and read the book The Millionaire Next Door. It's a fascinating read by Dr. Tom Stanley. He's dead now, but he wrote a great book about Millionaire Next Door, The Millionaire Mind, and how they're very careful with every dollar that they spend, even though their bank accounts are huge. It's kind of cute.
And
Yeah.
support Money Masters PBS and the mission of financial fitness. So why not?
Literacy, right? And that's the reason we're discussing, like Sasha, about the TD Ameritrader. He uses Quest and executing trades, and to the extent we can help people get involved in the playing the game, then they understand the game. Everybody goes, "Well, I hate corporations." Well, if you hate the corporation, go buy the stock. What do you mean?
Let me ask you something.
Huh?
Nick, I'd like to ask you something.
Sure.
If someone will go out and will acquire shares of Gabelli Income and Dividend Fund,
Oh, Gabelli, yeah,
which is paying 7.25% annual dividend.
that's a good dividend.
7.25%.
Yeah, too high.
Why would you hate corporations which is paying you 7.25% with almost no risk to hold?
That's kind of the Gabelli funds are paying 7.25% dividend right now.
Yes, they went up in price in the last week or two, but before they were paying 9.5%.
Okay, I'll tell you
now
why.
they're paying 7.25%.
I'll tell you why you want to do it. Why you want to do it? Because I traded in Nordic American tankers. Okay, because it was paying the dividend. This was several years ago, around 11%. Okay, that was pretty heavy dividend. I did a lot of research to find NAT. You know what happened? They went and they bought more tankers, and you know what they did with their dividend? Right in front of me, cut it. You know what happened?
Okay. I always accept the fact. I accept it. I always accept when I'm buying dividend stocks for my main portfolio. I always accept that anytime, at any point, the dividends can be cut. But if you were buying Altria Group, and Altria Group is paying now probably around 8% annual dividend. Tell me, in next 25 years, is Altria Group ever going to cut its dividend?
I don't know, but I've seen a lot of dividend plays or sucker plays, my friend. Remember you said sucker born every moment? Yes. And I'm not going to tell you the big company that I know very acutely created a huge dividend so they could entice money in. And then once the money came in the door, they cut that dividend, because remember, they have the ability to cut the dividend. Now, sure, if you can be like Coca-Cola, the reason why Berkshire Hathaway's in it for so long is they've maintained a consistent dividend for years. They tend to pay consistent dividends, but then the stock hasn't gone anywhere in the last decade.
It's come down from $52 to about $44, and probably remain there for so long. But Altria Group was paying dividends for the last 45 years. They always raise dividends, and they have fantastic economists of increasing the prices for cigarettes that they're selling and decreasing costs.
Sure. Well, all I can say is I took it on the shorts on Nordic Atlantic tankers on a dividend play. And Sharif, this is where people get experience in the market. It doesn't mean anything if you stand in front of a class and say, oh, and you lost a lot of money because he bought dividends, the dividends cut. Okay, here's how you remember it. You have your money in the market, the dividend got cut, and you just had your rear handed to you. Then you remember it. Okay. You know, I remembered the Nordic Atlantic tankers because a friend of mine, of course, goes, hey, you got to look at this stock, because there's always some friend out there. And then you look at it, you analyze it, you buy it, and then they say, hey, we're buying another tanker, which seems to make sense because they're doing so well in the tanker business, which seems to be a very solid business. So you keep following it, but it requires a lot of capital. So what they do, like they slash the dividend. You know what happened to the stock? It went down like a toilet bowl. And so the thing is, hey, you know, there's nothing guaranteed out there. And the only thing that's guaranteed is you have enough winners. Like I said, the Apollo Group pulled me out real well on that buy. And BlackBerry, I did well because I held it long enough, because I don't, you know, what do I call it? When it went down, see, like what Sasha does, he sells out. I just write it down, write it back up again. But the thing is, if somebody has the experience in doing it, then they understand it. And the only way they're going to get $1 is they got to save the dollar. So that's the reason you go to the dollar store, save your bloody dollar, put it in the market and play it. Yeah, Sasha. I mean, Ankit.
So, a basic question: if all of you have $100,000, how much return you expect in a span of 1 year?
A span of 1 year, $100,000. That's a good question. Depends on how you invest it. If you invest in CDs or fixed instruments, you're going to make $1,000. That's it. Because fixed
Okay.
returns are horrible. Okay, if you put it in the market, then you're going to make or lose, and you don't know. In other words, the thing is, the expectation within a year, who knows right now, especially during these times, it's really, really tough. Now, what our friend Warren Buffett said, if you want to invest in the market, take a percentage of it, put it in the S&P 500 fund, and forget about individual trades, and you'll probably outperform 90% of the money managers. He's right. Okay,
Yeah.
so why is it that Sash and I like to do individual trades? Because it's fun. That's all.
First of all, it's fun. Second of all, I'm
It's
in
learning as well.
charge of
It's
all
learning
my
and
trading, and I'm expecting at least 20% return annual, simply because of I'm buying sound stocks, either for dividends or selling options. As a rule, it's a covered calls. So by combining buying on margin, selling covered calls, and dividends, if there are any, and most of my holdings do pay dividends, at least 7-8%. So I'm expecting overall 20% return on my investment.
He is so optimistic. 20%
Well,
return.
no.
Okay, but the
Actually,
thing is, see,
more often than not, I'm making more than 20%.
yeah, but see,
20%
also,
is
okay.
exceptional.
Also, here's another thing that he's doing. Okay, as an individual investor, he's spending his time looking at the market.
Right.
Okay. See, you don't factor your time in to looking
Yeah.
at the market. See,
My
my
time is
problem.
very expensive. Yeah,
See, that's my problem. My time is very expensive. To the extent I spend time in the market means I'm not spending time in my other businesses, which I can make a lot of money. So I'm going like, wait a minute, I can spend time in the market, but I better have a great rate of return on the time that you spend in the market. And real estate investors do the same thing. They go, well, I made X amount of dollars on this real estate deal. I said, well, how much time did you spend? Oh, I spent all my time all year. Well, you could have got a job at McDonald's and made that. Seriously.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you have to
Agreed.
factor the time that you're spending into it, because time is an expense. And a lot of people, they don't do that. They don't
But
factor time.
in my strategy, what I'm doing, basically, I'm working 1 day a week. It's a Friday. When
right. You also
recreational options, and I'm just, I'm not even doing a lot of trading. I'm just doing balancing. Some options expired, so I'm selling new options. Some options haven't expired, but I have a good opportunity to roll them over into next month, for example, for some additional premium. So it's once a week. A more or less busy day. I can be busy in the morning from 9:30 to probably 10:30, and then maybe from 3:30 to 4. That's about
Right.
it. There's nothing much going during the day, and from Monday to Thursday, I can watch NBC sometimes, see what's happening.
Okay.
But
So, since we tend to enjoy this conversation, here's what I'm going to do. And kid, I'll start putting the feelers out for Monday. You know that I have about 1,200 financial advisors that report to and work with our company right now. 1,200. I mean, that's a lot. Now, actually, we have close to 2,000.
That's a big number.
There's a group of 600 that are about to leave us. Okay, in other words, I'll know more next month. So right now we're around 2,000, but they come in groups. What I'm going to do is start inviting them on. Now they have problems talking. Like Sasha can talk freely. Because Sasha, are you licensed through FINRA?
Absolutely not.
Are you licensed
Never
through
will
the
be
Exchange
one.
Commission? Are you SEC licensed? Series 6, 63, 7. Any license? Say no. No, so he can talk freely. The problem with these people I'm going to invite, they're going to have a problem talking freely because some of them are securities licensed, believe it or not. See, Sasha and I can talk freely. I dropped my securities license back in 1997, so I can talk freely about stocks because somebody goes, well, you talked about General Electric, then I'm going to come to you and buy some. No, you're not, because I can't sell you General Electric worth of beans. Okay, I can't do anything for you or against you. I can talk freely about it. I'm not FINRA licensed. When you're FINRA licensed, you're regulated as to what you can talk about when it comes to individual securities. I'll invite them to the extent they'll talk freely. I don't know, but I was thinking about doing that. Is bring up Economics Monday with the financial advisors that actually work in the industry and get their take on it. But
you know what's a problem with the financial advisors? Not only they're not allowed to talk, but they even don't know what to talk about.
Oh yeah. Okay. You know a guy, Jim left us, but anyway, there's a guy who lives down the street here who I played on the chess team with, of course. His name is Dennis Stearns. You can Google him. He owns Stearns Financial Group. All right. He manages 1.3 billion in assets. I'll see if I can get him on. And I have another friend, Kim Banta. She manages the Ciccarelli Financial Group in Naples. She manages 1.6 billion in assets. Now, in our pension group, we're like in the 400 to 500 million. So we're tiny, and we don't manage it. We send it all to insurance companies. But they actually manage the physical securities, and I'll see if I can get them on next week to discuss what's going on in the marketplace, build a bridge between here and Malaysia. They will have the Malaysia Fund. You know, they may even have one. I don't know. You know, there's so much capital that they manage. It's incredible. And you think it sounds like a lot of money, 1.3 billion, 1.6 billion. But some of the top money managers, they have, you know, they have 13 billion. Some of the big groups like LPL have $1 trillion under management. I mean, they're huge amount of capital that floats in the capital markets around here.
Well, you see, the problem, the problem is to manage such a huge investment fund. I'm talking about, say, billion and over for one person. It's next to impossible to manage because there are not enough instruments to justify this amount of investment. So then you have to put substantially higher investment into one position, and you cannot do that either. So then your risk-reward ratio is suffering. So I think for me personally, ideal investment to manage is up to $50 million. Over $50 million, I don't think I could do.
Yeah, well, the thing I see, like in the pension investing we do, there's usually a contract with a floor of 0 to 1%. So that's what, if we have a bad year, that's what we make on our pension funds and get. And then there's a cap, and I think the cap is around 4.5. So our expectancy is anywhere between, let's say, 1 and 4.5. That is it in a pension fund. 20% is like la la land. I mean, you have to really work it to get that, and we couldn't do it anyway because there's no. Yeah, you have to work it. If you're going to go above those numbers, you're going to have to put some sweat equity into it because it's almost impossible to get to those numbers unless you work it. See, and you're going to have to take some risk. So Sasha took risk on his General Electric trade. I would agree with him. If you want to know, would I concur with that? Yes, because that's on my buy list. And he also he shielded his downside by putting a call on it or a put on it. So he's going to so he basically sheltered his downside, and he's not looking for a super return. He was looking at like 8, and I thought 8. He might manage that in the next couple months because there are a lot of money.
Next 2 weeks it will be 8, and all I'm praying is to see my $7 calls are expiring on 2nd of July. So what I have to do before 2nd of July, I have to roll them over into longer $8 calls at premium. I'm not going to pay for it. I'll collect premium on that, but then I have to go around October, and I want to be done before October because of the election fact. Hi, Kim.
Hi, everybody. Boy, I had quite a journey today. Oh my gosh. I left early this morning, probably an hour earlier than I should have, got there early and for my doctor's appointment. And things are different, right? Every time I go, it changes just a little bit. But while I was there, where I go is known as a pain clinic for treatment pain. And they have an armed guard there in Durham because we have drug dealers that come in. And steal drugs from the clinic. So the armed guard, I've known him for years and everything. Everybody's wearing a mask now, right? I go in, you get a mask, you wash your hands, you check in, you get your band. And I'm sitting there waiting for my name. And they've changed the room. There's only a few chairs in there, right? And it's hard to hear them call your name because they're wearing masks. I thought I heard my name called, and I get up. And a lot of people don't know this. I'm allergic to bees. And they're leaving the front door open. I don't know why. I guess so people can come and go easier without opening the door. So I get up, and I'm having to pass the guard, and a bee attacks me.
Oh, boy.
And I'm running around. And the officer, is trying to help me because he knows I'm allergic. But he's known me for years, right? And he's chasing the bee. He's armed. Right? My biggest fear is, oh God, he's going to take his gun out.
Not that big.
And he said, "Just calm down, Miss Calvin. I got it." And he's getting trying to get the bee out the door, right, without killing the bee. And it's quite the scene. Well, I missed my first nurse's call. I guess the nurse came out. I never went. And they went back and said I wasn't there. So they had to go tell her I was there. And, 30 minutes later, I'm finally in. But and then a sad thing happened on the way home. This trip normally, it takes a long time, but not this long. It's an hour to get there. But there was a huge accident where a tanker truck ran into those concrete walls in construction.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's very narrow. Nick probably knows this. Very narrow between Durham and Raleigh. There's a section that you can barely breathe. And actually going this morning, a tanker truck swerved coming head on to me, but I was fortunate enough to have no traffic and was able to move over. So it's that narrow. And going back, one of the tanker trucks went into the wall so hard that there's like half a truck left. And you know how big those trucks are, right? So I didn't know why I was sitting in traffic for so long. I knew something was wrong. But I sat and just, waited. And then
What road?
So, what is that going 70 to what is known as the branch off to 85? Right. So 70 to 85.
70, right. Where they're doing all the construction.
They've been doing the construction for 20 years. Yeah.
Right.
This is, but it was so sad because I always tell the commissioners, that road's too narrow. We need to either make it a one lane because that's where tankers come through. All the tankers come through there. And, there's no need for it to be that narrow. They try to make 4 lanes out of something that should be 2. And, I can't breathe going through there usually. But I don't know if Nick, have you seen it? How bad it is?
I saw one tanker that shut down the whole, don't ask me, it just like turned over. And this was a couple of days ago and shut down the whole artery. But that's what happens here,
They're not smart about it. They could widen it, but they're not smart.
It is what it is. So, see, Sharif, we actually do some exciting things over here. It's not like Malaysia. Okay? Over here, okay, and it's not like your PhD program where you lead a boring life. And I understand that you're sheltered in some place. Okay, we have continuous things going on. We got diseases that kill a lot of people. Not like 100 people. We kill thousands, hundreds of thousands. Okay, it's pretty exciting. You can catch this disease and die. If you come over here and you didn't get a disease, you can jump into a riot. We have riots here all the time. And if you don't jump into a riot, then we just have people that just kind of like shoot each other, or somebody goes berserk and shoots lots of people. So here in the United States, we can bring you an interesting life. So when you have some time, you get in a plane, some of you don't catch COVID-19, die on the way over here. You get on a plane, you come over here, and you can absorb all the excitement of living in the great USA.
Okay, there is something even more exciting. I will have to leave you earlier. I will have to leave you earlier, but you know why? Because finally, first time in 3 months, I'm going to have a haircut. How am I going to have a haircut when all these places are still closed?
Can't.
So there is one Otto calls him a master, a guru. He's the best hair cutter in all city of Toronto. So, but he still can't do it legally, and he's very cautious because he's making a lot of money by cutting hair. So what to do? So my friend designed a special program where he comes to his house, and I'm coming there as well, and he's not going to cut hair. He will navigate for my friend to cut my hair, and I will cut his hair, and this guy will navigate and explain how to do it. Now go on the right side, just a little bit. Okay, you've done good. Now go on the left side, and this is how it's going to be done. You pay him $200 for navigating, and but at least I will get my
A $200 haircut, Nick.
Wow.
Only in Canada they would do that.
And I got mine cut last week for $25, and that included the tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to do it by appointment, but well, Ankit cuts his own. He has to cut his own.
But didn't you buy the clippers on the dollar store? They have clippers on the dollar store, the electric clippers.
I don't trust myself, nor do
Come on, man.
nor do I trust my wife, because she always says, "Well, you have too much here. We got to get rid of that," and she starts bringing her scissors. So I'd rather go to the barber.
Well, and I haven't seen my hairdresser since mid-March. So, and my hair was, I don't know if you guys remember it, my hair was up to here, perfectly cut, colored and everything, perfectly colored. And, I've let it all grow out. So it's going to be quite a challenge for her when she sees me. Or him.
You can ask everyone. It looks good right now as well. You get bored right now.
Yeah, it does look good. I would leave it there.
Well, it's hard to maintain long hair for me. So, I've always liked that clean cut look at the shoulders. It's easy to maintain. But I'm okay with it. I'm not, when I heard that we had to lock down, I said, well, this is going to be interesting. So, and I let it dry natural. I don't style it. This is not, this is all let it go. Whereas before we styled and, well, not the routine because we've had to hire hair and makeup. So Nick knows.
Okay, have a great day, everybody.
Interesting world. Sasha. I'm going to be leaving very shortly also, and I'll be back in about an hour or less because I have a client who wants to talk to me about their pensions, of course.
And client is always right.
Client is always
right. That's what I said yesterday. Right. The client's always right.
Yeah, got to take care of those people.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you. What I got on my soapbox yesterday, didn't I?
You can get back on it.
I got on a soapbox yesterday about the client being great. I miss good quality customer service. I think I miss that more than anything. I miss that, and it'd be nice to be able to pick up the phone and call when things weren't right, but you can't do that. I like the bots, but sometimes I just want to talk to somebody. I've already been through a lot. I just want to get it done and over with. And are you going to be okay?
Yes, okay. Sorry, I have to leave. Thank you. It's a nice, good discussion.
Well, and I'm sorry I missed you. Wow, everybody when I show up. Darn.
Thank you.
I'll see you next week.
Sharif.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. I did